You are not behind, but the number one way to stay where you are at with your clothing brand is to continue to do the same thing over and over again without a strategic plan. Now, real quick, here are a few of the highlights from over 250 clothing brands that we've worked with in the last 12 months. So you have a little bit of validity to go with when we're talking through this. So here you can check out this and this one, or this one here. So in this video, I'm gonna show you real examples and behind the scenes of this proven system, step by step, exactly how to implement it, the system for your clothing brand, and the common traits of every successful brand that I've ever worked with. And no, it does not matter if you are literally just starting out or making 7 figures per month, this will help you. All right, so this brand is a prime example of someone who did not follow a system and continues to believe that it will just happen one day. Maybe you can relate. So let me pull up these numbers here so I can give you some story behind this. All right, so maybe your store looks like this. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but give you a little bit of a background here on this brand. So this is the last 30 days for this brand. What has happened during that time? A lot of complaining, a lot of pointing fingers, and a lack of action. If you have some kind of level of hubris or a level of ego to where you think that people need to buy from you just because you have a brand that exists, this will hopefully be a reality check for you. So this brand owner is back on the right path. But at the very beginning, they believed that people owed them something because they created a cool product or a good product. Don't get me wrong, the product quality is probably decent. It was drop shipped. This person, even though they had the resources, did not invest time into creating content. They barely spent money on advertising, and then wanted the world to know that their brand existed, but did none of the actions. If this is you, I want to avoid that, and I want to show you some real examples of what you should do, which is the complete opposite here. I want you to avoid creating content intermittently, avoid blaming other people, and more importantly, blaming systems like Facebook or shadow banning or whatever else. Those are all excuses that will put you way behind, right? I said in the beginning of this video, you're not behind. If you're doing these things, you're gonna put yourself behind. That being said, let's talk about actual solutions here. What can make you stand out? So number one, a niche audience, a very specific audience that you can go after, right? You must be laser focused with that audience. If you are just guessing and hoping to see everybody and work with everybody, it's not going to work. The second thing is clear messaging. Who are you talking to and what problem are you actually solving for them? So many clothing brand owners are like,
I want to create,
right? And it's streetwear brand specific, okay? So boutiques do this as well, but not as much, okay? Private label, again, not as much, but streetwear brands are like,
I want to create something so cool and then do a crazy cool pre-order method and do some TikTok organic and go viral and just make a ton of money.
Okay, if that's you, then kudos to you if you've done it, but it's 1 in a million who actually make it happen. If you had a very niche audience and a very clear message, your chances of success are much better. And more importantly, we'll talk about this throughout the video, you'll have a solid foundation for your company, not just,
well, I got lucky one time.
Real businesses are built on strong foundations. The next thing you're going to need is consistent content and quality content. Consistent quality content. I think it's more of a these two intersect where it's quality and quantity. In the beginning, I want you to do quantity and then quality. So we have a program for a clothing brand owner. It's called the OSO program, and we help them get to their first $1 million or scale beyond. And it's really kind of micro niche, but so many of them are focused on making sure that the quality is good versus the quantity. You can win by doing more quantity. How do you think people get good at reels? By doing more reels. How do you think people get better at taking photos or building an actual brand? They do more of it. That's it. In the beginning stages, it's about repetition, and repetition builds confidence, and confidence is what actually bleeds out and breeds the ability for you to create great quality. There's a very quick story, right? And I've said this before, and maybe you've heard this, but essentially there are 2 ways of thought, right? You can go quality or you can go quantity. And the example it's given is kind of like an old proverb or fable or etc. And it's like there is 2 groups of people that were charged with creating the most expensive or the pot that they get charged the most for. One group was told they could make as many pots as possible, but they can only choose one to submit that would be the quote-unquote most expensive that they could actually sell. And then the other group focused on the quality. They weren't not supposed to do, that many at all, right? They were focused on making 3 or 4 pots. And over a 9-month period, a 3 to 9 month period, I can't remember exactly the time, but essentially during that period, the quantity people like 10x the amount of pots that the quality people did. Not only did the quantity put out more, but they also got better. They completely demolished the quality group who was trying to sell the pot. The quality group, it's kind of like a tortoise and a hare, right? They just focused on just like fast races and just getting quick wins. And the quantity group was just like, let's put in as many reps as possible and get better. And they actually got better. They won the race. They sold for the most amount. Same thing happens for you here. I want quantity to happen and then quality to match it. You'll get better at quality over time. The other big thing for you, gotta have great profit margins, 70 to 80% gross margins. Okay, 30% cost of goods, but you need a good profit margin. If you do not have good profit margins, it's gonna be very difficult for you to try to grow and scale this business. Now, the next thing though, is you've got to have an amazing product. This is where everybody kind of focuses on, like I'm creating new designs. I wanna spend all of my time making designs. And it's like, well, have you made any money? I also want you to avoid, this is something, at this point I've probably consulted with 1,000, 1,500, I need to go back and look at the actual numbers, but 1,500 clothing brand owners in the last couple of years alone. And one thing that I hear a lot is,
oh, I can't invest in marketing because I just bought a bunch of product.
Well, okay, how are you gonna sell that product if you don't have good marketing? So amazing product, absolutely. What does your niche or your audience, what problem are you solving and what do they actually want? Great marketing with a bad product will get a first-time customer but will not build a brand, but you'll actually sell more with great marketing and a crappy product than you would if you had a crappy product and you just absolutely suck at marketing. If you had to pick one, I'd rather have better marketing so you can at least get eyeballs, plain and simple. You need to be able to create specific ads for that audience, right? So clear messaging, 100%, great margins, a problem that you're actually solving, and then very specific ads is going to garner even more eyeballs. I will tell you this, after many brands, one thing that people are looking for is they're like, now you may see the title of this thumbnail or many people is like,
one thing you've got to do, or this one thing fixed everything.
The answer is truly just repetition, 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 repetition. Never stop running your ads.
Ever.
You can always update them. I want you to update the creative, but never stop running ads and never stop working on your messaging or innovating your product. Okay, I put innovating your product and creating a new product as the very bottom. Now, you need to do it, but let's look at this. Apple's like a $3 trillion company, okay? And they're just continuing to innovate their iPhone and it's not really doing the best, but they have very good messaging. They know who their audience is and they've hit a mass market, right? So I understand that Apple is large in this example. They're continuously figuring out ways to innovate their product. It's important, don't get me wrong, but if you don't have the right audience and you stop running ads and you continue to mess up your messaging, it doesn't matter if your product's amazing. Again, it does not matter what your product is because it will not sell. In 2020, if you started a brand right before or on the coattails of that C word, I can't really say it because of YouTube, but your business likely grew like crazy. I know a lot of people who did, a ton of them, mostly because of the supply and demand, okay? That's what I love about economics, okay? There was so much demand, very little supply. And all the brands still around today have ran into a rut. Every single person who has started during that period of time in 2020 has ran into some level of rut. It's whether or not they work through it, or maybe it's you like right now trying to figure out how the heck to figure it out and are trying to get back to sales from earlier years. So if you're still around today, you're probably trying to get back to, I just want to get back to where I was in 2020, 2021. Many people blame the economy. Some say that ads don't work. It's Meta's fault. They're shadow banned. But it's really just one thing. If this is you, I'm going to show you how to fix it. But first, I wanted to say a quick hey, howdy, and hello. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding, and my business partner, Christian, he's the other half of this channel, so please make sure you subscribe. His specialty is Shopify, everything to do with website and design, apps, themes, and it's all specific and geared towards clothing brands as well, so you will see him around on the channel as well. Now, we've served over 250 clothing brands in the last 12 months alone, and I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe so you do not miss out on any of our latest content. Also, if you do this in the next 3 seconds, I will share with you a classic 90s cartoon. Get a little nostalgia for you for the day. The number one reason brands failed or are struggling right now, who thrived during the time where everyone was at home because they did not put in a strong foundation for their business. They put products on a website and ran ads, who had no clue who their customers were, and they made money because Facebook honestly was baller, okay? It was doing so good. I started Facebook ads in like 2014, and ads were not baller. It was before the Pixel, and then which is allowing you to do like your tracking and keep track of numbers. And then the Pixel was just like at the height in 2020, 2019, 2020. So it was just like a lot of people could win. And then iOS, so iPhone update, iOS 14 happened, and it fixed that. I mean, it fixed it. Basically, it's an update that stopped sharing as much data back to Meta or Facebook. So essentially, 60% of the data we were getting from Meta was just like cut off. I mean, it's literally like gone. So our targeting had to actually be better, all right? We couldn't just create some really bad ad and then Meta would be like, well, here's the right person. It was so good. People, if you ran ads during that time period, you're like,
well, we used to get customer acquisition for like $8, $10, and we didn't know anything about ads.
yeah, absolutely. So did everybody. But that's not the case anymore. The business owners at this point who are struggling, right? They also didn't understand the profit margins. They weren't getting repeat customers. They were not running ads profitably, or more so, the ads were so good that they never thought about repeat customers because the acquisition cost was actually lower than what it needed to be, and so they were actually profitable on first purchase by a lot. So they didn't have to worry about getting the customers to come back and buy a second time, which is crazy. They also didn't have a clue on how to run ads other than spend money with an image or video. Honestly, it worked, so I don't blame them. A lot of people jump into ads and are like,
ads are easy.
and then I don't think they're necessarily hard, but I do think that it's a little bit harder than what people believe. And biggest of all, they didn't plan for a rainy day. You had ads that were running, you had decent sales, and you didn't have to really try that much, so you didn't put in the effort. And then when the bottom fell out, you ran into a situation where, yeah, you're desperate for some money because you didn't plan for a rainy day fund. Now, let's talk about fixing that, okay? Because I want to show you a brand from that period and what happened since then and how we kind of turned it around. Okay, so real quickly, this is the last 30 days, and then we're going to go back in time. So the last 30 days, we're doing about $300,000 per month, and this is in probably one of the slowest times of the year. So this just shows you where we're at now. Now let's go back to flashback 2020. So 2020 just started, and then like everybody, $700,000 in year one. 2% conversion rate, average order value, 200,000 people to the site, spending very little money on ads. So like 700,000, and I think it was technically like start day of March. So like 9 months to hit 700K. Okay, who doesn't want to start $1 million company literally at the start of the pandemic? So that's 2020. 2021 was the best year in marketing for anybody, everybody, and their dog. Like anybody could win. So this was 1.83. So we added $1.1 million to a brand, 2.5% conversion rate, average order value still over $100, 500,000 people to the site, all by running just very few ads. Again, 2021 was gonna be killer. All right, so let's fast forward here. 2022, let's just go halfway through the year where everything starts to happen. We're at about $500,000 now, down 30%. What's going on? Conversion rate's still good. Average order value drops significantly, 20% from the previous period. Let's go here, July, August, September. Where are we at? 260,000, 40% down. Conversion rate at a 2%. Average order value went up slightly, 90%. We came on with this brand in October, so just full disclosure, right? So October, November, December, what happened? Again, 58%, 60%. If you compare it to the previous year, which is where we're at, significant drop. Conversion rate was up. I mean, it's holiday season. Average order value was up a little bit. Traffic was down by half. So many people were running into this issue. Started to turn things around, and you can see here, so 2022, just so you know, it's like, how do we fare? $74,000 by the skin of their teeth, down 40%. So you're like, up, 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 business always goes up. And then, thank goodness, we started implementing some actual systems here, okay? They had great profit, but they started implementing a couple of things that we talked through to fix in 2023, okay? We added a tool called CommentSold, all right? So we went from 1 million struggling to 2.1 million, literally grew them $1 million. We also did it more profitably. Conversion rate went up, average order value went up, traffic went up dramatically, and we spent the same amount of money. That is what happens with a strong foundation. That was last year. Now, let's look at January through this year. We're technically into June now, but we'll just do through May. Year over year, we're already at $1 million, 5 months into the year. Traffic's up 150%. Conversion rate's actually down a little bit. Average order value is down a little bit because we did a huge sale as well. I think it was in January. This is the difference. Now, it took a whole year for us to kind of push this thing back into the right direction, but it's foundational pieces. It's much easier to see here than it is the actual work that was being done. It was a lot of hard work. And as you can see here, like CommentSold, a live selling platform, getting people to come back as repeat customers. We knew what needed to be in place here. But to give some context, a lot of people went through this, and most of the people who went from the million and then now they're not profitable and then below the million, if they wouldn't have figured out a solution, they likely wouldn't be around today. So it is possible to turn around. It is not possible if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, okay? I wanted to show this more as a motivation. All right, now I want to show you step by step how to implement the system and show you behind the scenes of the exact ad setup we are teaching to hundreds of brands right now that is literally working today. But first, hold up 1 second. I want to say that if you are a clothing brand owner and want to jump into the specifics of your brand on how to grow it profitably online, you can schedule a free 45-minute strategy session with us. There are limited spots, so go find a time right now that works best for you. You can click the link in the description down below. Okay, let's go through here, and I want to show you some ads that are actually running right now. So this is the behind the scenes of the actual ad. I want to show you the numbers and the setup. Go over to Ads Manager. What's running? Spent $146,000 to make $1 million. We reached about 900,000 people. Frequency is quite high for a couple of things. Now, there's only one campaign running. I know, isn't that crazy? We had some other campaigns going. We've slowly moved it over. We've been testing Advantage Plus. I wouldn't necessarily jump into Advantage Plus too much yet, but we have a top of the funnel DCT, dynamic creative testing. Also, at the time of this recording, they are moving to a thing called Flex. So DCT will quote unquote go away, but not really. So be on the lookout for a video for an update for this, because it is going to change the way that we do things. Not dramatically, it is still going to be a DCT, it's just a different name. Now it's called Flex. I really do not like the name, but we got one campaign here going broad, 480 purchases, $9.45 per purchase. All right, let's look at this setup here. We are not doing a manual setup. We're going for website, not website and shop. We've had better success with just website, all right? We are not focused on customer acquisition. The audience is something that we've chosen. So you can see audience controls in your ad account settings, because if you do Advantage Plus audiences, it says it's going to be better. We have not seen that yet. 21 to 65, we're going after women only. Age, gender, location, what a lot of people have talked about before, right? This is broad. We've been preaching this since literally 2019, 2020. So been something we've been big advocates for a long period of time. All languages, technically we allowed to do a lot of English. And then manual placements, essentially for this, the only reason we're taking something out is we're just not doing really too much with audience networks with the type of creative that we have going on. You can see here, it's also going to, nothing is necessarily changed, and we're doing 7-day click, 1-day view, and that is it. Advantage Plus campaign, basically it's the old CBO, so campaign budget optimization, which means that any ad set inside of here is just distribute the budget between ad sets. Right here, we got one campaign, and then we have 3 ad sets with campaigns that are going on right now. $72 cost per purchase there. Frequency is actually great. Frequency is not doing too bad here. All right, I like it. Yeah, cost per purchase is a little high there, $39, but our average order value makes it all make sense. So anyway, that's going on. We have a quote unquote hero campaign, some evergreen content that we are excluding, just so you know, we are excluding the past 30-day purchase. That is something I forget to mention a lot of times. It doesn't make sense for a lot of people, but if you are spending, $200-300 a day, it does start to make sense to exclude 30-day past purchasers. So this is a campaign right now that is driving a majority of our sales. Spent about $150,000 to make $1 million, not too shabby. Okay, especially with something with about 85-90% margins on this brand. Okay, so now you know the exact system to growing your clothing brand right now. You know behind the scenes within the ads, and you also, more importantly, know what to do, or what the opposite of to do is, to avoid the example I mentioned in the very beginning of this video. But the next thing you need to do is make sure that you can actually drive traffic. Our favorite way to do that is with Facebook ads, Meta, so make sure you go watch this video right here next. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.